June 6, 2024. This is the S&P 500 E Futures Mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. This is what the chart looked like to me and how I marked it up. It was at 5:30 Pacific Standard, which is about right here. It was the unemployment claims that came out, and it didn't really look like it moved the market too much. You could make the argument that it maybe created a sell-off. The market recovered relatively quickly. Total volume and total volatility was low today. And the thing is, after, while you're looking at this, like, excuse me, while you're looking at the price action as it unfolds, at least for me, I kept trying to see and I found like a bunch of second entries, both long and short. But the thing is, they kept kind of falling short. So, in other words, to complete the second entry, it confirmed, but then it immediately reversed or the follow up would kind of chop sideways. So, the total range that you could see was about 30 points, a little less than 30. And I found it a little difficult to take trades today. I took no trades, as you can see, and even then I didn't really mark too many trades because it was kind of tricky in my opinion because there was a lot of second entries, as I said, but a lot of them didn't quite play out correctly. And so adding that with the slow price action, the candles taking for a while to close, it made you, I think, overthink, or it made me overthink a bunch of trades. And in hindsight, I'm actually kind of glad I didn't take any trades because it just felt tricky and it felt like kind of a slow grind. So as you can see, it kind of moved in this trading range, sold off very gradually, had this big overshoot, came back down, rallied, and then it kind of closed right where it opened. So it wasn't very exciting today. So in the pre-market, right before the market opens, I take a look at the volume and I could already tell it's kind of a low volume day. And it plays out that it truly was a low volume day. So this is the pre-market, technically the absolute pre-market highs here and the pre-market lows here, and that's where I marked it off. But I thought there was some kind of support being respected by the price action here and some kind of support here. So within that, I actually put a trading range right here, this blue one, which looked like it confirmed pretty well. So I'm thinking prices might just be playing in here. And after this breakout, I was expecting a equivalent potential push to the other side. So I was looking for a measured move, something like this, with prices coming all the way back up to the top. So that's what I was looking for and expecting. Prices opened, kind of dwells, bounces around. It's just very, very tight trading right here. Technically, as I said, I found a bunch of these second entries, but there doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be good trades. So it's just very congested right here, like 3 dojis in a row. I don't really like that. I'm still watching and wondering if it's going to make it all the way up to the top now to complete this one leg pullback and a second leg up. It does. So it completes the measured move, but it wasn't very clean, and I didn't really see any good clean second entries. You could make an argument there's a new low here. First entry short, second entry short failure, but in real time, this is what your price action looks like. I was thinking this already hit the top of my trading range, or what I thought was a trading range, so prices are more likely probably going to come flushing back down. It turns out that it kept moving, hit the measured move, breaks out, both the pre-market highs and this potential resistance. So now I'm thinking this could be the trading range low, and this could potentially be the trading range high with some kind of resistance being respected here. It gets choppy. I don't really feel that there's anything safe, but I do see this as a new high. It's a first entry long pullback. You get a confirmed second entry long here, but here you're not thinking long yet. Here you get a confirmation of the second entry long, continues pushing up. Then it ticks one tick above and immediately flashes down. So I thought this is a possible trade. It's also coming from a potential failed breakout of both the pre-market highs and this trading range high. It's a strong push and it closed below the EMA. The thing that kind of made me hesitate was the EMA is kind of flattening out. So there could be another sub-range happening here. I didn't quite have this green down channel drawn yet. And even if I did, you only have really two confirmations, so you can't really trust this as a reliable channel or resistance yet. So I didn't take a trade. I watched and waited to see. Now you have a confirmed failure because of first entry long, second entry long. This candle ticks below this one, so it confirms the failure, but it wasn't very convincing. So after I saw this close, I definitely wasn't really thinking of going short yet. It flashes up and closed back down. So there was a possible trade here, but I just didn't, for me, I just didn't like it. It felt too aggressive. Pops around. So then I established this green down channel. I was playing with it throughout the day in real time as this was happening. So it was a little more shallow at times, but it looked like it fit pretty well right here. You do have a new low here, first entry short, second entry short. This isn't good enough because it just feels like definitely it's an inside bar to this. You'd be banking off the strength of this resistance of this green down channel. I needed this candle ideally to hit the EMA and get a good strong rejection back down. So I'd have first entry short, a break above this guy, at least one tick, ideally to the EMA, and then close like it did here with a strong close below. Then I'd be thinking, okay, definitely get a short trade ready. But it kind of just did that on its own and it flashed down. Prices then continue moving. So it kind of bounces off where I think this not pre-market, but it was established in the pre-market, where I think this trading range low could possibly be aside from the pre-market low. So it bounces up, comes up, and flashes back down, and it kind of whipsaws violently. So you do have a new high, first entry long. Technically, you have a second entry long here. It's inside bar. It's not very convincing. EMA, it really isn't helping right now because it's just prices are acting as a roller coaster, is going both above and below the EMA. So you can't really trust the EMA too much now as a good supportive indicator. And you're mainly trading range rules, I'm thinking. So you do have a new low, first entry short, second entry short failure. And it kind of gets a little noisy. I don't quite like this because when there's these big stems, either on the top side or the bottom side, with the bodies kind of half the size or even less, it's telling you that the bulls and bears are really fighting it out. There's no uh, dominating side right now. It is starting to show more bearish bias, but it's just kind of in the middle of nowhere. It gets choppy again. You do have a new high. You have a first entry long, pull back. You have a second entry long, but when you see this candle, there's nothing telling you, at least to me, to get a long trade ready. So after this flashes up, you get a confirmed second entry long, but there was no real way to enter this. Pushes back up, doesn't quite hit the highs. You have a first entry long, second entry long, technically a lower high, but I'm not thinking of going short yet because it is in this trading range, but I'm not sure what I'm looking at, to be honest, in real time. So I was just kind of waiting for this noise to clear out. Gets a little noisy. Then I do draw this yellow down channel. I had the bottom of the yellow down channel actually a little bit higher. I had it here at one time, and I was also playing it potentially here. So I'm going to leave it here for now, and then I'll adjust it later when I kind of indicate in real time where I thought I was going to drag it down. It gets noisy. So you have a new high, first entry long, second entry long. You could reset the count. First entry long, second entry long, third entry long. But then I reset the count here because this is clearly a new localized high. So you have first entry long pullback, second entry long. This, again, the EMA is flat. It's showing kind of a bearish bias. It's running into this top of the resistance of this yellow down channel. So I'm not thinking long at all. But I'm also not thinking for a failure for failed second entry long, because technically you do get one right here. New low, first entry short, second entry short. So this is also a new high, new localized high, first entry long, second entry long, failed second entry long. You have two key entry points going for it. But again, I was kind of thrown off by this price action, which is a little noisy. I was at one time thinking there is a potential support. I just draw it in that might be cutting across here. And I had that in my mind, so I wasn't too sure if this yellow down channel was going to be the uh, dominating move, or is it going to be kind of in a sub range? Because if you look to the left, it's just been kind of noisy. So this is also a very shallow down channel, so I don't trust it too much, but I don't know that I trust this support either. So that just kind of tells me, even though there's two key entry points, just to leave it alone because it's not clean enough for me. Looks like it would have worked though. Flushes down. So I do see this new low, first entry short, pull back. Technically, you have a second entry short, and this is more like a realization after the trade's already made, but I saw this double top. It's an almost trade because there's rejection off this confirmed down channel, this yellow down channel. But I wanted a better signal bar with a close below the EMA to even consider this trade. So even though it flashes afterwards, it's too late for this trade. And I don't think there was, I don't know that I necessarily would have, realized to take a trade, or it would have just been a lucky entry if I did take this trade. Flashes down. These candles are getting rather large. So I'm just kind of sitting on my hands. I see a new low, first entry short, This is a better setup. So I thought this is actually a possible trade. This is rejection by this yellow down channel again. It's a good strong close below the EMA. EMA is starting to move from horizontal to a bearish bias. So you do have a one push up, pull back, second push up, rejection by here. It did have a failed breakout, so that gave me some hesitation. But if you're trying to chase this and push for the momentum, there is enough room to get a scalp out. But I just wanted to wait and see. I ideally wanted a a lower high, after this, maybe two candles later, lower high with an EMA rejection, or a flash up, rejection by this, and then a strong close below. And you kind of get that right here, a lower high here, but then you get another confirmed lower high. But now it looks like for me, it was in a trading range. So there was, I guess, a lower high here, but it isn't very clean because these candles are just too congested. And then you have to sit through this noise before it finally works. The prices then push out. So I do see this is a new low again, first entry short, second entry short. I was debating whether to take this trade. And, right now the EMA is trending down. This down channel is showing good resistance. There's these few spikes. Ideally, if you could kind of take a razor, I guess, and cut off all these wicks, this came just right to it, I would have felt more confident. But there were a few times it spiked through by a few ticks. So that gave me a little bit of pause because I'm thinking, there's still enough room for the next candle to be opening and closing before it hits the EMA. So I'm thinking another identical red candle could form here with a spike that pushes up. So if I did take a short here, I know my stop would be pretty much one tick above here. And I was worried that I might get stopped out. Then it opens and closes. So, definitely there's a second entry short. So I don't know if I was being too conservative, but it's kind of how I read it in real time. Just had to leave it alone, even though I thought it's probably a possible trade. Prices then continue moving. It's clearly in this yellow down channel now, and it's meeting, it's holding pretty well. There was failed breakout here. It's just noisy, and it breaks out and it pushes way down below. At this point, that's when I dragged this to meet roughly something like this. I think I kind of dragged it a little bit lower just so I could have the midline act as this potential support. It's like a two-tier channel, kind of flashes up. It's a first entry short. Technically, I have a second entry short, but I'm not too keen on this because it just kind of had even if I dragged it to here, there's a breakout here, an overshoot. And if I dragged it all the way down to here, that looks a little odd because I have all this empty space. So I was playing something more along this at the time. I saw this overshoot, and I'm thinking one push up, pull back, a second leg up, even though you potentially have a second entry short. It kind of does that. If you decide to go short, you would have gotten filled, probably gotten stopped out right here. And it kind of pushes back down further. So that's where I thought, okay, there's a break, a push up, another break, and never makes it to this side. So I thought, okay, maybe the bottom of this channel might be here. Another break kind of consolidates. You have a new low, localized new low, first entry short, second entry short, technically a third entry short because it pushes up and comes back down. Or you could count this as a lower high, but it looks like it's in a range. I just wanted to leave it alone. I wasn't too sure. Then prices continue. It kind of starts moving back up. It starts hitting again the top side of this yellow down channel, which is encouraging because I'm trusting this as a resistance more than I'm trusting this support because I'm not 100% sure where the support side of this yellow down channel is. So I'm more willing to get shorts ready. Plus, going short moves with the overall trend as opposed to trying to jump in on a long. So I don't really see any clean entries. It starts breaking out. I'm thinking it might be following this orange up channel, but it keeps dwelling outside. So I drew this green up channel. You have a first entry long pullback. I'm thinking there potentially could be a second entry long here, but I just wasn't too hot on this small little candle. So if you did enter, you would have gotten a fill and it would have pushed up because this up channel does need to test its high. But was giving me pauses besides that candle. I wasn't sure if this orange channel was still in place. So this could be an overshoot, one attempt up, two attempts up, and maybe a push back down to create an overshoot on this side. So it just wasn't too clear for me. It kind of falls into what I think is a trading range, but doesn't hold very long before it flushes out. Technically, you have a new high, first entry long, second entry long. You do have a lower high. I didn't mark it. You have a lower high here, and this lower high, it does close below. The problem that I had with it was I wasn't clear on whether I was in a trading range. So even though it's a lower high, it's kind of, I'd be shorting into the lows. So this is what you see in real time. Is it really going to push through and continue forward? I have no idea. It turns out in this case it did, and I missed it, but that's okay. It falls on this red channel going down, breaks, tests, makes a new low, continues making a new low. Now, one time I was thinking maybe the channel looks something closer to this. Then you have a break. Whether it's going to test this low or not, it's running into this very well-established down channel. So when I saw this, I'm thinking, okay, well, it's a break of this red. This red technically wants to test this low if I have the channel correct, but I didn't think I had the channel correct because it's only one touch. Then it comes and touches this guy. It negates these 3 to 4 candles afterwards, and it just felt like this is what the channel looks like and what it should be. Whether you have it here or here, it doesn't change the break and test to the new low. So let's just leave it here. And I'm thinking this makes a little more sense because it would justify the bounce off of this yellow down channel, and the the push down on this red channel has played out because it broke and already tested the new low. So it's looking for a reversal. So now I'm looking for a potential higher low, but ideally a failed second entry short above the EMA. I need to see a push above the EMA to feel confident taking a short. But I was also keeping an eye on whether prices would come here, set up a nice second entry, and act as a nice resistance here. But there was this kind of a big push right through here. So I'm not really sure what's going to happen. I do have a first entry short here. And unfortunately, you get a second entry short here, but it's above the EMA. It's a decent signal bar, but this confirmation of the second entry short stopped short of pushing through the EMA. So now I have to just sit and wait. I do see this as a new high. It's a first entry long pullback. I saw this as second entry long in a possible trade. So now the EMA is kind of holding. As I said, the yellow down channel looks like it's played out. It overshoot, kind of tested its new low. Red down channel broke out, tested the new low. So I'm thinking both these trends have kind of played out. It might be time for a correction. This could be one leg up, pullback, and a potential second leg up. So seeing this in real time, I hesitated. I did have this drawn, but it wasn't drawn to touch this as nicely. It was actually something closer to this. So I was thinking this is third confirmation of broke out and then push back in. Maybe there's a trade there, maybe not. Looks like it would have worked though. But as I then continue moving up, there's no clean, I guess, second entries that I could find. The triple top here, or triple test, not triple test, but a micro triple top. You do have a first entry long, second entry long here, but it's far from the EMA. It's inside bar. It's just kind of, it's not even the right color. Prices then continue moving. It kind of chops sideways. You do have a new high here, first entry long pullback. You have a second entry long. Then second entry long, I'm not too keen because I didn't have this. I didn't trust. I had the possible resistance up here, but I didn't have the support that I really trusted down here yet. It pushes back up, kind of gets noisy. You have a new high, first entry long, second entry long. It's a bad signal bar to go long on, although it is at the bottom of this now established trading range. But I just didn't like that it was a bearish bar. I keep chopping again, and it kind of moves right into the close. So this is like the last 10 minutes, which I do not want to trade because it just gets a little gnarly. So overall, this is how the chart looked. It was a little bit more challenging for me. I mean, prices were kind of setting up these weird, pretty much whipsaw, sawtooth patterns that were very tight. And so I didn't mark too many trades, and some of them, I don't know, a lot of the setups were second entries, but they just kind of fell short oftentimes. So slow day, not too much volume was lower, and yeah, it was definitely a test of patience. Also, I had just the way price action was moving today, I was second guessing a lot of my chart read, which in this case, was another indication to me that I had to be extra careful because I would often, if I'm reading too closely at something without thinking of the overall picture, I'll oftentimes, as I've seen in the past in my own trading, I'll probably invent a setup. It'll definitely be a second entry, but the second entry will be very sketchy, and I'll probably take it just because I might be have this low level frustration that nothing's setting up quite right. So today is it was a good day that there was no trades taken, and also a good day that uh, it was just kind of a practice of patience day. So hopefully that was helpful.